Hi everybody, this is Alchemist2 and I'm back again with another book review. I just recently read Voices of the Winds, Native American Legends by Margot Edmonds and Ella E. Clark. And this particular book has all of the Indian tribes in it, and it begins with, if you go to the northwest, southwest, excuse my fingers, Great Plains, Central Region, Southeast, and from the Northeast. And of course it's dedicated to the original American Indians. And all these acknowledgments are made. And it's a book just rife with just so many wonderful legends from these different tribes. And some I had never even heard of before. Like the Passamaquoddy, A Loyal Sweetheart. I like the love poem that the hunter sings. It's actually really beautiful. I'm actually gonna read it because I don't know why, but I love it. It's so evocative. Often on a lonely day, my love, you look on the beautiful river and down the shining stream. When I last looked upon you, how beautiful was the stream, how beautiful was the moon, and how happy we were, and how happy were we. Since that night, my fair one, I have thought of you always. Often on a lonely day, my love, you look on the beautiful river and down on the shining stream. When we paddle the canoe together on that beautiful water, how fair the mountains looked, how beautiful the red leaves, as the gentle wind whirled them. After the winter snows, when spring has come once more, we will paddle again together. Then the leaves will be green, the mountains fresh and fair. Often on a lonely day, my love, look on the beautiful river, down on the shining stream, and know that spring will come. I love that particular part. I gotta read it again because that actually gave me hope. Because out of the winter comes spring, and it's just about renewal. Often on a lonely day, my love, look on the beautiful river, down on the shining stream, and know that spring will come. And spring is coming. Spring is already here. And it's a reminder that even though you may feel that all has become lost, it never really is. There will be a renewal in your existence. There will be a renewal in your life. And spring will have sprung. And you can take into account that there is hope. Of course, I like the rainbows. And the first woman of the goddess, that's a Navajo legend. I love the Navajo people. I have no idea why I love the Navajo so much. I like the Navajo. I like the Cherokee. I feel like I relate to the Cherokee. I know I've mentioned that before. They talk about Spider Grandmother, which I think is really cool. And the Hopi. I like this about the sun god, the horses of the sun god. How joyous his neigh, lo the turquoise horses Jahonai. How joyous his neigh, on the precious hides outspread standeth he. How joyous his neigh, the mingled waters holy drinketh he. How joyous his neigh, and there in midst of pollen, sacred pollen hidden, all hidden he. How joyous his neigh. These his offspring may grow and thrive forevermore. How joyous his neigh. And yeah, the Apache are in here. I don't think the Nez Perce are in here. Chippewayan are. The Aleutians are here. The Digueños are here. The Yosemite Miwok are here. I like this is the Leaping Frog Rocks. There's a part of that I'm just going to read really fast. Let the howl of the coyote, the roar of the bear, and the mountain lion, and the sound of the wind swaying in the tops of the tall pine trees be to him a sweet lullaby. And that's actually before the before someone goes on their journey. Tenaya, before Tenaya goes on the journey, actually. So it's really interesting. I really like. I thought that it was just so. It's just. It's so spiritual. I think it's very ethereal. Just the writing itself. It just there's something so. It's hard to say. It's just really quite stirring. I think it just stirs your soul and it makes you realize that there's something beyond what we can see, what we can understand. And I know it's not accurate and I know it's not historical, but when I think about that, I think about Disney's version of Pocahontas, which, I don't necessarily, I don't care for the fact that they messed up their history quite a bit. I mean, yeah. But the music in that particular Disney film, I absolutely love, like Paint with All the Colors of the Wind. And Just Around the River Bend. Just Around the River Bend is one of my favorite songs. Because I always felt like that was written for me. And I always feel like I'm navigating the river bend and I never know what's coming. Because it's so true what she says about the river. You can never step in the same river twice. It's accurate because water's always flowing. And water never stands still. So Pocahontas in the film, she was always on the move. She's never, well, yeah, there are a few times where she stops. But most of the time she's in constant motion. She's always kinetic. But these legends, they all have different stories to tell in and of themselves. And I like the ones about the medicine men and how crops were begun and the legend of the I really like the creation legends. Those are really spellbinding. They're just magnificent, and they know how to tell a story. They really do. The Native American people really know how to tell a story. Their culture was oral, so that's the reason why I do believe. And they wanted to preserve this culture for their young, and pass it on to generation after generation. And it's a good thing. I don't know. I'm sure Margot and Ella were more than happy to get these from the chiefs of the tribes, and if the chiefs would allow them permission to use them. Because these legends are just, they're outstanding. They really are. They're spectacular. And I'm glad I had a chance to actually look at them and and enjoy them as much as I did. And it's actually a very short book, and in the end it has some very interesting meanings if you are in need of a glossary. And it starts from adobe and it ends at eucala, or dried salmon. We all know what adobe is. But it's a very short glossary. But now I know what a hogan is. It's an Indian dwelling. It's made of It's constructed of a log and stick frame. It's covered with mud or sod. It faces east. I'm thinking that whoever made the hogans, they probably worship the sun, more than likely. Of course, you know what maize is. And a parka. Who would have thought? We owe the Pueblo. We actually owe the Pueblo to the Southwest Indian. Well, you knew that. It's an apartment like up to 5 stories high. It's interconnected by ladders, and it's made from adobe bricks. Yeah, we all know that. We all know about teepees and wigwams and wampum. And we know about shaman. And we also know about parkas. So this is important, and this will never I don't think this will ever fade from our culture, but we must remember it's not ours, it's theirs. We can borrow all we like, but we have to give respect where respect is due, I do believe. And I do, and I just think that the people are just they're beautiful people full of wisdom, and we can learn so much from them. They're so connected. They're so spiritual. They transcend the very rules of logic and nature. I mean, I remember the story. I probably told this before in another review, but when Greg Braden was talking about his friend David, and David was praying rain, and then Greg said, "Oh, don't you mean for rain?" And Joseph said, "No, rain. If we pray for rain, that means that we're doubting the wisdom of the Great Spirit and what the Great Spirit can do." And he imagined all these different things in this field, in this medicine wheel that he stood in. And he looked to the north, the south, and the east. He honored all the cardinal directions. He honored his ancestors. And he honored the spirits and the wind and etc. And he prayed. And then he exited. And he said a few things like, "I can picture myself naked in corn." And the smell of the rain as it comes up from the fields. I mean, it was just so beautiful, this poetic language that he used. And then, I don't know why I said David and then Joseph. Well, I mean David. He called him David. But then David said, then Greg said, "Well, now what?" And then David said, "We go home. I'm hungry. Can I have a sandwich?" This is kind of a funny story, a kind of very human moment for something very spiritual that happened in the middle of nowhere. And then later, he's watching TV, and sure enough, there's a storm approaching, and I thought, whoa, no way, yeah, that's always been something of pure fascination to me. But I do know that manifestation works in this manner, and you cannot pray for something, you must pray the something to happen. And of course, the something that will occur has to be within the will of God. So you have to, sometimes you have to be patient for receiving your blessing, whatever your blessing may be. And maybe God says no. So there's always that. You have to respect. You have to respect that. I really don't know what else to say about this particular book, but it's absolutely fantastic and fabulous and marvelous and terrific. Oops, I was pointing my camera the wrong way, I'm sorry. And just tremendously done. And also, if you're interested in other books by the same authors, they have a book about Sacagawea and the Sacagawea of Lewis and Clark expedition. Ooh, I might need to get my hands on that one, because I love Sacagawea. Poetry and Interpretation of Life, Indian Legends of the Pacific Northwest, Indian Legends of Canada, Indian Legends of the Northern Rockies, Guardian Spirit Quest, and In the Beginning. Those all sound interesting. And I've been very intrigued. And this book was actually written in 2003, so it's not that old. But basically, that's all I got to say about the book. So if you're intrigued about it, if something like this really is interesting to you, then by all means pick it up, because it's definitely worth your time. And it's nothing if not fascinating. So I will see all of you later. Live long and prosper. Ciao, tutti.